Introduction. This presentation has been meticulously prepared by Pushpesh Nayak and will be delivered by Laura. Mr. Nayak has had the distinct honor of working across 4 continents with some of the world's most prestigious companies, traveling to over 60 countries. As a chartered professional engineer with Engineers Australia and holding an MBA from UNSW, Sydney, he is eager to share insights from the book, Awaken Your Genius by Ozan Varol. Awaken Your Genius 2023 serves as a profound yet accessible guide to shedding the elements of yourself that impede your growth. Through a structured 5-step process, it guides readers back to their authentic and unique genius selves. About the author, Ozan Varol, originally from Turkey, is a former academic and the acclaimed author of the bestseller Think Like a Scientist. His diverse background encompasses studying astrophysics and contributing to the operations team for the 2003 Mars Exploration Rovers project, as well as becoming a law professor. He has also delivered keynote speeches to esteemed organizations such as Microsoft, Salesforce, and the U.S. Department of State. What is in it for you? Discard the habits that hinder your creativity and unlock your inner genius. Ozan Varol. Awaken your genius, escape conformity, ignite creativity, and become extraordinary. Figures like Picasso, Galileo, Beethoven, and Curie are universally recognized as geniuses, yet each of us possesses unique genius potential. Throughout our lives, within the frameworks of school, work, society, and family, we often cease to question our true desires and identity, following a path that narrows with age. It is never too late to liberate yourself. In Awaken Your Genius, discover how to discard outdated aspects of yourself, embrace a renewed version of yourself, and redefine your narrative. We are all geniuses. We all possess innate creative potential. It is essential to reconnect with it. Gordon Mackenzie, an artist with Hallmark Arts, observed a noteworthy pattern during his visits to schools to engage with students. When he inquired about the number of artists in a first-grade classroom, nearly every student eagerly raised their hand. By 3rd grade, this enthusiasm diminished to 1/3 of the class. By 6th grade, only a few students identified themselves as artists. What transpired? What led to the decline in creativity? Each individual has a unique brilliance. You are a distinct result of specific circumstances, heritage, and environmental influences. However, as we progress through life, obtaining education in structured settings and conforming to the expectations of family, peers, and society, we often lose sight of our uniqueness and instead adopt layers that conceal our authenticity. We tend to suppress our creativity, but it is never too late to reclaim it. To awaken your genius, an introspective journey is required, involving reflection, shedding learned behaviors and expectations, and embarking on a path to enlightenment. In this presentation, you will explore 5 steps to achieve this. The first step, termed the death, involves discarding aspects that no longer serve you. This is challenging, as you may be attached to your current identity. However, embracing the new necessitates letting go of the old. The death paves the way for the second step, which is the emergence of your renewed self. We will then explore how to nurture creativity during this internal journey, followed by guidance on adapting to the external world. This culminates in the final step, transformation. To awaken your potential, release what no longer serves you. Consider the story of Gillian Lynne, renowned as the choreographer of Cats and the Phantom of the Opera. Her achievements were substantial. However, during her childhood, Lynne was perceived as a problematic student. In a desperate attempt, her mother consulted a doctor. After observing Lynne, the doctor asked her mother to step outside, leaving Lynne alone with music playing. Observing through the glass, they witnessed her dance with enthusiasm. The doctor's advice was clear: enroll her in dance classes immediately. Like Lynne, many find themselves constrained by systems that do not align with their strengths. Most individuals emerge from conventional educational systems that emphasize memorization and passive learning. To unlock your potential, the initial step is to relearn, which necessitates discarding outdated notions. Perhaps you excelled in biology and gained experience in hospitals, yet realized that a medical career no longer excited you. It can be challenging to abandon years of effort and an established identity as an aspiring doctor. However, remember that identity is merely a narrative you construct, not a definitive truth. Your identity is a personal narrative, but it does not define you. You may love music and participate in a band, yet you are not solely a musician. Owning a Mercedes reflects your possessions, not your essence. Defining yourself by a single aspect diminishes your complexity and authenticity. Embrace uncertainty and be open to diverse perspectives. Avoid conforming to groupthink that demands consistent alignment with a specific ideology. Value your attention as a crucial asset. Do not squander it on incessant notifications, the relentless news cycle, or the allure of social media. Once you have established inner space, remain still and allow for personal transformation. The birth, identify your fundamental components and reassemble yourself in innovative ways. The birth, identify your fundamental components and reassemble yourself in innovative ways. On Valentine's Day in 2005, 3 innovative engineers embarked on a project to create a platform for singles to share videos and introduce themselves to potential partners. Although the concept did not succeed initially, the effort laid the foundation for what would become known as YouTube. The initial concept of YouTube did not succeed, but by analyzing and extracting valuable elements, those engineers were able to construct something successful. What are your fundamental components? Your skills, your talents. It could be something that comes naturally to you, yet you may not perceive it as a talent. It might be something that made you feel unique or different, but it is actually a strength. Do not restrict yourself to a single dimension. You can be an athlete who writes, a musician who practices law, or a chef who climbs mountains and participates in marathons. Discover and integrate the diverse abilities that reside within you. During this process of reinvention, reflect on your mission and purpose in life. Maintain a journal to record what energizes you and what drains you, what is exhilarating, and what feels burdensome. Explore possibilities by considering various careers and lifestyles. Engage with individuals who are involved in fields you might be interested in and seek to understand their perspectives. As you embark on this remarkable journey of exploring potential paths, there is one aspect you do not need to carry with you: external validation. Consider that Jason Alexander was nominated 8 times for an Emmy for his role as George Costanza in Seinfeld, yet never won. Or that Isaac Asimov did not achieve a New York Times bestseller status until he had written 262 books. Imagine if either Alexander or Asimov had concluded that the absence of accolades equated to a lack of talent and ceased their creative pursuits. By depending on external validation, you allow others to dictate your priorities. Attributes like beauty, compassion, and creativity cannot be accurately quantified, and thus no award or recognition truly encompasses their entirety. The inner journey. Discover the playful, creative, and wise individual within. The inner journey. Discover the playful, creative, and wise individual within. Here's an effective approach to achieve this. Refrain from excessive online searching. Avoid overwhelming your mind with the thoughts, opinions, and ideas of others, which can hinder the development of your own. Instead, maintain a document on your computer to record your ideas as they emerge. Keep your insights private and genuine. Trust your intuition. Engage with others for brainstorming, ensuring a diverse group of thinkers. Take long walks. This is particularly beneficial during the interim between conceiving a good idea and executing it. A Stanford study demonstrated that participants who walked on a treadmill before a creative test outperformed those who remained seated. Disregard your inner critic that highlights inconsistencies and perceived irrationalities in your ideas. Such critique can stifle your creative process. Remember, your new idea may seem unreasonable simply because it does not yet exist. What nurtures creativity? Engaging in play, regardless of age. While checklists are essential in tasks like surgery or aviation, innovation often requires following your curiosity. Charles Darwin explored geology for enjoyment, and the cast of The Office wrote an episode for another show when they faced creative blocks. When you encounter obstacles at work, consider devising an idea for a competitor's product. Reflect on your thinking environment and experiment with it. A traditional office? Consider an idea lab. Instead of a meeting, envision a collaborative space. At Brazilian can manufacturer, Brasilida, all workers are regarded as inventors. Embracing uncertainty and avoiding over-research or over-preparation can lead to groundbreaking and creative outcomes. Dismiss the critics. They are reminiscent of those who once labeled Galileo, Stephen King, and Walt Whitman as misguided. As Lao Tzu observed, seeking the approval of others can lead to self-imprisonment. Engage meaningfully with the world outside. Engage purposefully with the world beyond. In this digital era, many of us consume information we assume to be factual. However, how often do we critically assess it? Breakfast is often touted as the most important meal of the day. We impart this belief to our children without researching its origins, which trace back to cereal manufacturer Kellogg. Critical thinking is vital, particularly now when misinformation can be swiftly disseminated without verification. Questioning allows us to encounter diverse ideas and perspectives that algorithms might otherwise filter out. When we aim to engage with the world meaningfully, reaching out to mentors and leaders can be appealing. However, exercise caution with gurus, as the image they project is often curated. Consider one of America's esteemed figures, Henry David Thoreau, who famously resided in a cabin by Walden Pond to explore and document life's essentials. While reading Walden, you may have admired him, yet were you aware that his cabin was merely 2 miles from his home, that his mother delivered pastries on weekends, or that he frequently visited his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson's nearby residence for dinner? This information offers a new perspective on Walden, doesn't it? The complete truth of someone else's pioneering journey is rarely visible, whether it's an Instagram influencer, writer, musician, or scientist. It is not always necessary to follow others' advice. Remember, their guidance is based on their personal experience, not yours. Seek multiple and varied perspectives, then adapt their advice to your own context to determine its suitability. Bear in mind that when we regard heroes, we see only the successes. Not everyone who left college and moved to Silicon Valley founded a leading tech company. Steve Jobs' achievements might have materialized regardless of his college education. We cannot ascertain this, so it is unwise to leave college solely because he did. Release your expectations of the future to genuinely embrace your present. Release your expectations of the future to genuinely embrace your present. Is it beneficial? 3 small words, 1 simple question. Is it beneficial? To read another article about the college your child did not gain admission to. To review statistics about plane crashes before a significant trip. To understand what the experts have to say about a new pandemic. The reality is, even experts do not always possess the correct answers. No one can accurately forecast the future. Worrying about potential events that may never occur is an inefficient use of time and energy. To advance towards your transformation, it is essential to relinquish your preconceived notion of your future. Having a broad idea is acceptable, but attempting to dictate life along a predetermined path will often fail due to factors beyond your control. A life that unfolds exactly as planned is not only improbable, but it may also lack fulfillment, as it eliminates opportunities for growth and exciting possibilities. The only constant is change. Consider the example of the peppered moths of Britain. Before the 1800s, 98% of them were light-colored and 2% were dark. During the 50 years of the Industrial Revolution, the ratio completely reversed. Why did this happen? Soot from coal-burning factories darkened the bark of trees, making the previously camouflaged light-colored moths easily visible to predatory birds. Such a development was unpredictable, yet what was once advantageous, the light camouflage, became undesirable in this new environment. If you become too attached to a particular version of yourself, you restrict the potential of future iterations of yourself that cannot emerge until the current version is set aside. It is challenging to leave the familiar, especially when it is closely tied to your identity. If you are contemplating transitioning from a career in law to teaching, for instance, you may question whether you remain yourself if you are no longer a lawyer. Those around you may respond negatively, resenting you for withdrawing your previous presence or for highlighting their own stagnation. Their discomfort is not your responsibility to manage. Consider that for the butterfly to unfold, the caterpillar must cease to exist in its current form. Achieving the full potential of your remarkable life requires releasing the old one that is bound by various preconceived notions and truly embracing your distinctive brilliance. Conclusion. Final summary. In this reference to Awakening Your Genius by Ozan Varol, you have discovered that everyone possesses a unique form of genius, even if it has not been previously recognized. By thoroughly reflecting on your life, values, and decisions, and by paying close attention to your inner voice, you can transform into a genuine version of yourself, engaging effectively with the world around you. Thank you for listening. We would appreciate it if you could provide us with a rating or a comment. Your feedback is always valued.